Hello, my name is Andy and I am the Village Idiot. I'm armed with a car and a GoPro and an unhealthy amount of time on my hands. I'm using that time to attempt to visit every civil parish in England. You're watching the East Suffolk series, the area that was formed from the former Waveney and Suffolk coastal districts. Let's have a look at one of its 177 parishes. Welcome back to East Suffolk. It's good to be back. It's been a while since we've been here. Last time we were in Suffolk, we were around Felixstowe. This time, we're more to the north of the county, around Lowestoft. And we're beginning a run of 4 villages up here with the parish of Lound. Here's my disclaimer for people who may be watching me for the first time. I say things as I would in my native accent and dialect. As a result, I may not pronounce things in the same way as the locals do. Remember, I'm a visitor. It's impossible to know everything. Leave me a comment, spin me a like and bash that subscribe button. Let's get to today's parish video. Welcome back to East Suffolk for the first time since last year. Back then, we were in and around Felixstowe. Now we're on the outskirts of Lowestoft, right on the border with Norfolk. In fact, the Norfolk and Suffolk border runs through these. These are Lound Lakes, a nature reserve to the north of Lound village. They're a series of artificial lakes originally formed by peat digging. They're operated as reservoirs by Essex and Suffolk Water. The lakes were established as the major supplier of drinking water to Lowestoft in 1854, with a waterworks operating in Lound. The waterworks' engine house, a scheduled monument, has a pair of Easton and Amos Grasshopper beam engines, the only 2 known to be in their original position. The lakes flow into nearby Fritton Decoy and from there drain into the River Waveney. The area around the lakes is cared for by Suffolk Wildlife Trust as a 115-hectare nature reserve. This building on Hall Road, which runs between 2 of the lakes, is the security building, although I couldn't help but wonder, given its design, if this was once some kind of chapel. Basic info time. Now we're in Lound itself. This is a tiny village and pretty easy to walk around. We begin on Earth Lane to the west of the main road running through the village known as the street. Onto the street and we have our first major building. Above those hedges is an old school with date stones that the camera hasn't quite picked up. That's not the only former school in Lound either. Lound was the site of the former Lothingland School. I'll show you where that was later. Lothingland is the name given to the island that Lound sits upon, as believe it or not, this area of Suffolk is an island. It'll become apparent why in future episodes, but for now, take my word for it. Continuing north up the street, we come to a bench placed here for the Golden Jubilee of the current Queen. Hannah, the eldest stepdaughter who's with me today as a special guest, spotted a tree next to that. This was planted to celebrate the millennium in 2000. And next we have Lound Village Green, which according to this sign was created in 2005 by the local residents. So this is a little bit hidden in plain sight behind this hedge. This is Lound's Village Green. Now I knew this existed, but I didn't know it was behind a hedge or whatever. Let's go and check it out. This is an open space surrounded by hedges and trees where residents and visitors can relax and enjoy the peace and tranquility of the Suffolk countryside. It's got a few nice features like this summer house, although I wouldn't recommend it in this weather. All the same, this is a nice spot which anyone can use. It's also linked to the village hall. You might be interested to know there's only 2 parishes in England with the name Lound. The other is in the Bassetlaw district of Nottinghamshire, and both now have TVI episodes. They both mean the same thing, grove, much like Lund in the East Riding. Hannah spotted this next. This is not an actual spring, but there are springs in this area of Suffolk. Lound, by the way, is not far from major towns. It's 4.5 miles north of Lowestoft and 5 miles south of Great Yarmouth, just off the A47, which connects the two together. A couple more paces and we're at the Mardle Cafe, selling good coffee, cakes and light meals. Today was a Tuesday, so it wasn't open. I can, however, explain its name if you keep watching. Okay, so we're almost at the top of the village, the very north of the village. So we've got up here the village maid, which is Lound's pub, and a notice board. I'll put a card on that in a moment. Any events going on? Some village walks. That's pretty much it. Anyway, we'll have a look at the pub, we'll have a look at the notice board. There's a little pond up here as well, and then we're going to go down a footpath which will take us down back to the start point effectively and past the church. Hannah obliged with the parish notice board, although couldn't wait to get out of the way of the camera. Mark off Lound, Suffolk scorekeepers. There's only 169 more to go in this district, you know. Next is the Village Maid pub, and this is believed to be the only pub in the country with that name, according to Lound's village website, which I've linked below. Opposite the pub is a pond. This is called the Mardle, giving its name to the cafe. This is referred to as Fish Pond on old maps, but only a heron keeping watch from the trees catches any fish these days. This area was like a gold mine for me. This board tells you all sorts of stuff about Lound, including areas around the village like Bloodman's Corner and Cuckoo Green, which all fall within it. Leaving that area of Lound behind, we now need this footpath. This forms part of the Waveney Way, a long distance walk around the boundary of the former Waveney district. Oh, and buses? You can catch the 982 out here if you attend the local sixth form college. The bus stop is a little hidden behind this hedge at the same spot as that waymarker. So this is Blacksmith's Loke, and it will take us back round to the beginning via the church. We're approaching the church now, and on the way via the footpath you can access the village green from another entrance. The church gives us a look for the first time at a round tower. Dedicated to St John the Baptist, the church is medieval in origin with 12th and 13th century stonework and a 14th century baptismal font with an elaborate gilded font cover on the inside. It's one of 38 round tower churches in Suffolk, the tower having been rebuilt in the 15th century. Round towers are almost exclusively found in the east of England. We will be seeing more. It was open too, so we had a look inside. The church was restored during the 19th century and was then refurbished by Ninian Comper in the early years of the 20th century. The work was part of the spread of the Anglo-Catholicism style of church refurbishment, and it includes a number of pieces of work by Comper, including the font cover. Check out the organ too. This is probably one of the most impressive churches I've ever been in. Take a look at this. I mean, the organ, I've just got that in shot. This font is incredible. That is really, really nice. And then we've got a rood screen here, which is equally as nice. This is one impressive church, people. Hannah couldn't resist lighting a candle before we left, something which I wholly approve of. This is a great church, and I thoroughly recommend popping in if you're in the area. Out of the churchyard, and here's one for the allotment fans. Lound does indeed have some, so get yourself a faceful of these people. If you're new to the channel, it's a running joke. On the opposite side of the church is the village hall. Adjacent to the green, this was completed in 1996, replacing a wooden World War I army hut which served as the village hall for some 70 years. So despite the fact I've already put a card on a parish notice board, there's another one here at the village hall, and Hannah was like, give it to me, I want to do it, I want to do it. Speaking of wartime, Lound was also the site of a starfish bombing decoy designed to draw enemy bombers away from Great Yarmouth. A number of anti-aircraft batteries also operated locally. Well, it's quite nice now the sun's come out, but it's a shame we've just got to the end of this video, or near enough. All I've got to do now is pick up the car, which is here on Earth Lane, and then we'll be driving this way out of the village. It's back towards the A47 to catch one more thing, and that will be Lound completed. And of course, you guys need today's picture bit, and that's coming right now. All that's left to show you now is Lound Plant Centre. This is a garden centre and it's located on J Lane. Some old maps call it Jail Lane, suggesting an old lockup may have been located along here. This offers a coffee shop and tea and cakes, as well as plants and locally grown vegetables like tomatoes, aubergines and peppers. For those who like spicy food, they also have chilies. This is almost directly opposite the newly opened Lound campus of Horatio House, an independent school for pupils on the site of the former Lothingland School, which closed in 2011. Okay, that's it for the parish of Lound. Now, there are 3 more East Suffolk videos coming out over the next 3 Sundays. This one, of course, has featured Hannah as a special guest. One of them will feature Victoria, that's the middle stepdaughter, as a special guest, and the third one will feature Lauren, that's the youngest stepdaughter, and the fourth one will feature good old Nikki, and you guys are very familiar with Nikki. And those will be coming out over the next 3 weeks. But for now, this has been the parish of Lound here in the district of East Suffolk, and I've been Andy, also known as the Village Idiot, and I'm out.